Well, hi there, second graders again. This is our day 2 of reading, and I wanted to find out who remembers one thing from yesterday's reading. As you juggle your brain, I can tell you one thing I remembered. I remember that the iceberg is the biggest below the surface. Let me see if I can find that page, and that way I could show it to you. Oh, here we go. There it is. The icebergs are biggest below the surface. All right, today we're going to start our reading, and it starts with who eats what? Like all animals, Arctic animals stay busy by finding food. Some eat plants while others are predators. Predators are animals that hunt other animals for food. Most animals need to protect themselves from predators. Protective parents. Musk oxen do not run away when Arctic wolves come near. Instead, the adults form a circle around their young so that the wolves cannot catch them. Arctic food chain. Arctic wolves are the top predators in this food chain. They eat musk oxen, hares, and lemmings, which in turn feed on grass and lichens. Bully bird. In Antarctica, the skua is an aggressive predator. It threatens penguins and steals their eggs. King of the ice. The polar bear is the largest and most powerful hunter of the Arctic. Bears roam alone over long distances each day in search of seals to eat. They also catch fish with their sharp claws. Surviving the cold. Polar bears spend most of their time on ice floes. They are also excellent swimmers and can spend many hours in the freezing water. Oily fur and a layer of blubber keeps these bears warm. Who remembers what the meaning of the word blubber is? Junk food. Polar bears can stray into town to find food. Sometimes they visit garbage dumps where they may be poisoned or injured. Mother care. Baby polar bears are called cubs. They are born in a warm, cozy den that their mother digs in the snow. They grow quickly on their mother's rich, fatty milk. Long-distance travel. For many polar birds and mammals, winter in the Arctic is just too cold. These animals migrate south to warmer places and return again in the spring. Nomads of the north. Caribou are a type of deer. In the winter, they live in the forest on the edge of the Arctic. In the summer, they travel 600 miles north to spend the summer feeding on tundra plants. Flying visits. Arctic terns fly farther than other birds. Each year they fly from the Arctic to the Antarctic and back, seeing summer at both poles. Hoofing it. Caribou can walk on deep snow without sinking. This is because their wide fur-fringed hooves act like snowshoes by spreading their weight. Life in polar oceans. Polar oceans are cold, but not as cold and difficult to live as in polar lands. The deep waters of polar oceans are teeming with sea creatures. Antarctic ocean floor. Colorful anemones, fanworms, and starfish sit on the Antarctic seabed. Sea slaters and sea spiders creep along the floor. Ocean food. Many animals in polar oceans, from tiny fish to large whales, feed on planktons. These are microscopic animals and plants that drift in the water. Sea mammals. The polar ocean are home to whales, seals, sea lions, and walrus. These animals have blubber to keep them warm and streamlined bodies that help them easily move through the water. Blubber, here's the word again. Making a splash, whales such as this humpback whale swimming in the icy polar waters, they leap into the air and fall backwards in the water with a splash. This is called breaching. Changing coats. Harp seals are born with fluffy white coats. The mothers take care of their babies for about 2 weeks, and then the pups grow gray adult coats and must look after themselves. Tusk tools. Walrus drag themselves out of the water using their tusk as levers. They also use their tusk to dislodge shellfish on the seabed. Flying squad. Many seabirds spend the summer at the poles. Most live on land, flying out over the water and diving to catch food. The albatross stays at sea for most of the time, coming ashore only to lay its eggs. Guillemots lay their eggs on cliff ledges. The eggs are pointed at one end. If the eggs are nudged, they spin in a circle and they do not fall off the cliff. Cliff colonies. Puffins make their nest high on the cliff so that predators cannot reach them. They breathe in large, noisy groups called colonies. This reminds me of a book that I'm reading with one of my reading groups, Puffins. Crowds of penguins. Penguins live in the coastal areas of the Antarctic. These birds cannot fly, but they use their wings to glide under the water as they chase their food. Group hug. These young emperor penguins are huddling together to stay warm. They take turns going in the middle where it is warmest. Sliding along. To travel quickly on land, Adelie penguins slide across the snow on their bellies. They use their wings to push and steer. Feet on the ground. The ice is much too cold for young chicks. To stay off it, they stand on their mother's or dad's feet, snuggle under a special flap of skin on the adult's belly. There you go. And that ends our reading for day 2. So I'll see you tomorrow.